Hey you too! Welcome back to another beer review here at Thomas Opent. I can already hear some of you going, thinking, what the hell is going on here? Why is he suddenly speaking English? Well, see, there's the thing. I'm not English, I'm not American, I'm Dutch. And usually I review in Dutch. Hence, by the way, the name, Opent, is not my last name that people are like, that's a weird last name. No. Opent is Dutch for opens. Thomas opens. Beer. That's what I do. That's what this channel is all about. Beer reviews. And about 3 weeks ago or so, I uploaded my first English review, mostly as an experiment to see how that would go. And it got some good feedback. It got some good comments, a decent amount of views for a young channel such as this one. And I figured I'm going to keep doing this. So the idea is that every 2 weeks, every other week, I'll be posting a review in English. And for the most part, they'll be Dutch beers. Why? Or Belgian, maybe, European. I'm going to do that because there's plenty of people across the pond and across the ocean who just don't get these beers. They'll never be able to taste these beers. And I figured it would be nice to review some of the stuff that is being made here in the Netherlands. Our small little country has quite a high number of brewers. I think we're around 400 or something right now. That's pretty impressive. So for a small country like ours. So I figured, you know what? We'll focus as much as we can on Dutch beers in these English reviews. So yeah, let's get this one started. I figured let's go bold, let's go big, go bigger. What was it again? Go bigger or go home? I don't know, something along those lines. Anyway, I figured let's go with a brewery that actually is very well known internationally. It's De Molen. Brouwerij De Molen. They're known for their big ass stouts. They're basically the quintessential Dutch stout brewer. That's what they're mostly known for, that and their barley wines, their big bold beers. They're also one of the pioneers really when it comes to barrel aging in the Netherlands. They really have a very big barrel aging program, loads of different kinds of barrels, not just your standard bourbon. Although this is a bourbon barrel, I'll get back to that later. But a wide variety of different kinds of barrels. They although I didn't really appreciate it that much, they actually once released this barley wine, a quadruple, aged on Saturnus, whatever you pronounce it, a sweet white dessert wine. The combination wasn't really something I thought worked very well, but they do make these bold decisions, these interesting new things. So yeah, I appreciate that quite a lot. What we have here is Verdoemenis, Hell and Damnation. It's one of their most well-known stouts, worldwide I believe as well. However, this one has been bourbon barrel aged with Brett. I don't know how long the Brett was in this beer. Well, it's of course still in the beer. When they added it, if it went into the beer the moment it went into the barrel. I know from the Brouwerij version that the Brett was added a month before bottling, I believe. So it only had a month in there. Having said that, this was bottled on August the 16th, 2017. It's 1 year and 2 days old. So that residual Brett should still have done quite a number on that beer. Also very unique for this. This is going to be my first Bretted stout. Never had one before. I don't really know why. It's not a thing that you really see here in the Netherlands a lot. It's a pretty new thing. Don't know if it's a big thing internationally. I don't know if people in America go like, the United States go like, oh yeah man, we've been having those for God knows how long. Anyway, for me, this will be a first. It's 11%, drink at 10%, so 10 degrees Celsius. It's unpasteurized, 11% alcohol by volume, an imperial stout, barrel-aged Brett. The ingredients are, of course, water, barley malts. They use Pils, caramel, chocolate, roasted and brown, bitter hops, Saaz and Columbus, and top fermenting yeast. Yeah, there you go. It's got It's got a nice little label. They got this very sort of like, I don't know, simple, straightforward. Reminds me of like these old newspapers, you know, from like the 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever. Labels with their logo, Brouwerij De Molen. It's very simple, straightforward. Their barrel-aged beers always have wax caps, which is something I just realized I only got an opener. Let's hope it will be enough. We're going to just pop the top on this one. Oh, fuck a doodle. That is insane. The glass broke. I have glass in the beer. I'm going to have to go get a little sieve. That's insane. I never had that happen before. That is seriously one of the most insane things that have ever happened to me. I hope this is salvageable. Let's see what happens. That is just weird. I never had that happen before to me, ever before. That is just nuts. It pours, well, the pour is actually quite dark brown, not so black at all. And we're just going to leave it like that, and then I'll see what happens later on. I have never, ever had that happen to me before. That is insane. That is just insane. I think you could, I hope it seems to be a clear shard that broke off, but just, I hope you guys can see that. Would you look at that? That is just nuts. What the hell? Okay, to the beer. There we go. Yeah, as I said, it's mostly pitch black. Probably getting a light bleed in here. Slight brownish hue on the bottom. It's got a nice frothy, creamy, sort of mocha colored, slightly, well, light mocha colored head. Let's just go to the nose and see what this does. Yeah, you definitely get the bourbon. It's not that heavy. I don't think this is like a year-old barrel age. I would presume this is more along the lines of give or take 6 months or so. You get big chocolate notes. Lots of oak, lots of vanilla. Bourbon's definitely there. It's getting a bit more dominant now. It's got a big, sweet, boozy vibe to it. It's very bold in the nose. Yeah, right now I'm mostly getting deep chocolate and that bourbon nose. That's what I'm mostly getting right now. So yeah, let's see what she has in the flavor. I'm very curious. Cheers. Yeah, okay. That's nice. That's very nice. You got a lovely big bittering component in the back there. It's intensely dark, pure chocolate in the back, where you get that chocolatey sweetness, but with that big bittering component. The bourbon is definitely there, but not as heavy as it was in the nose. So I'm kind of happy about that. I love my bourbon barrel aged beers. I love most barrel aged beers out there. The thing is, some of them can be so dominant in that barrel aging, where you get the idea that that cask was never empty. You know, that barrel was never empty. There was like still a decent 2 or 3 liters. 2 liters, by the way, give or take half a gallon of bourbon in that cask, which is really mixing in with all that beer. This one's a little bit more subtle. In the nose, it's heavy on the bourbon. In the flavor, in the taste, in the mouth, it's definitely more subtle. You get more of that base stout, which is loads of dark roasted malts with a big chocolate component. That's the thing that you're getting the most, the big chocolate component. And now you're getting these red fruit kind of vibes. You're getting that sort of berry-like. Those red fruits, berry-like components, but not like fully ripe and sweet. You know, you still get that slight acidity of it. There is a slight acidity in the entire beer. Soft acidity, not what you would expect for example, a lambic or a Geuze. There is that slight bread quality in it, but it is very subdued. It's giving this soft acidity to the beer that's incredibly in the background. It's very, very soft and very complementary to the big, bold, roasted flavors of the malt, of that bittering chocolate, working together with the sweetness of the bourbon. It's making this extremely rounded. It's all working together. You got some pretty big, intense flavors which could very well clash quite a lot, and these are complementary to each other. The acidity is so soft. It's very easy to confuse it for like a coffee acidity. A good coffee has that slight acidity from the beans. You get that here as well. It's very well made. It's very well balanced. Very, very, very drinkable. The mouthfeel. The mouthfeel is velvety, lush, but not too thick, not too cloy. Overall, the entire beer isn't all that cloy or sweet. There's this big thing with these imperial stouts these days, especially some of those barrel-aged adjunct beers that really want to work with the heavy bourbon flavors combined with adjuncts that make it intensely sweet. Those are great. I love them. This one is softer in sweetness. It's that dark, pure chocolate sweetness. It's that sweetness you get from a good bourbon. It's accessible. It's subtle, and it's complementary again to those main component flavors of the roasted malt and the bitterness. And that's what this thing is. It's much more classic. Classic stout than I expected it to be, and I keep forgetting every time I have one of the Molen, because oddly enough, even though I live in the Netherlands, I don't even drink them all that much because they're great, and you don't want to saturate yourself with a great thing. And then you keep drinking those intense, sweet pastry stouts, because those are released on the market, and the first thing in your head is that you need this new thing, you want it. It's you're a beer lover, so there's this new insane triple IPA with God knows what kind of fruit flavors in it. You need it, and you kind of forget that there's those beers out there that started it all. Those classic stouts, those classic IPAs. And this to me falls into that with a little bit of tinkering with that bread in it, which is incredibly subtle, and it's not a big component to the beer at all. It's just this extra little. It's actually extra little dimension. It's just soft, sweet. Well, you know what? Yeah, a soft, sweet acidity almost, because some of these acidic flavors that you can have from the bread that remind you of some of those sour fruits, for example. At least that's what it does to me. They have that sweet little component to it as well. So there's this thing in the back of your head that's kind of getting confused. Like, is it sweet? Is it sour? What is it doing? It's doing several things because it's reminding you of several things. It's a very complex beer. It's a very well-made imperial stout, and that's something that I personally feel the Molen does best. They do several things. They also make some sour ales. They also got some IPAs, and they're nice. They're definitely not bad, but for me, no, it'll always be their stouts. Those are always the beers that I will love most. I am incredibly curious about something, by the way. I'm gonna have to do this. I'm like insanely curious at the amount of glass that went into it. It can't be that much, and I hope it's gonna come out. I can hear it rattling in there. So I hope it's just one big piece and I haven't ruined this beer, because if it turns out that... Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, it's only one big shard. I should be fine. I should be able to finish this beer. I'm going to be incredibly careful, of course. That's a weird thing. I really want to send a message to the brewer about this, because I wonder if they've ever had this happen before. Quite odd. Anyway, back to the beer. De Molen, Hell and Verdoemenis, Hell and Damnation. Bourbon barrel aged with Brett. I'm gonna have to give it a score. I think I'm gonna go for a 4 point. I'm doubting between 4 and 4.25 in the untapped scale. Because it is well made, it is that solid, it is that complex. But I have had better. Yeah, I'm going to go with a 4.25. It is that good. It is that much. Stuttering here a little bit. It really is that good a beer. Because it ticks all those boxes of a good classic imperial stout for me. It's roasted, it's complex, it's bitter, it's got a little bit of sweetness but not too much. It's got complexity. It's got complexity. It's got everything that I want. Yeah, it's a 4.25. Well barrel aged, not over the top, not too in your face with that bourbon. It's just another added layer. The Brett gives it that soft acidity that I very much like in a stout. And this is a sipper. This is one that you just really take it easy with. I love it. 4.25 for Hell and Verdoemenis by De Molen. That's it for this review. Give me some feedback, guys. What do you think? Did you like the English review? Do you think this is something I should definitely do a little bit more? Like I said, I want to do them once every 2 weeks, once every other week. So that's out of 6 reviews, 1 of them will be English. What are your thoughts on Hell and Verdoemenis? Have you ever had it? Especially for you people not from the Netherlands. Have you ever had the basic version or any of the, because there's several, any of the barrel-aged versions of this? What did you think? What are your opinions on Brett and Stout? Is it a good combination? Should they remain separate? Love to get some feedback. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to like the video. You can find me on my other social media in the description box below the video. You'll find links to my Untapped, my Instagram, and my Facebook page. Especially on Untapped and Instagram, you'll find loads of beers that I do drink. I do have some thoughts on them. I don't review those beers, but I do have a thing or two to say. I'd love to get some feedback there as well. And I hope to see you again in another review soon. Cheers.